so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats, you know that we gotta run it back. Whether on the field or the court, you know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Wire Sports Media. So the most embarrassing thing about the Indiana Fever is when they do not come to play, they do not show up, and they use every excuse in the book. Now, last night's game saw the Indiana Fever lost 1 point game to the Dallas Wings, a game they should have won, a game they should never have been close in from the beginning of the game, 80-81. There's so many different things in this game that you could wrap around. But when you sit up here, make excuses, yeah, the referees was crap last night. Granted, they was crap. They was crap. But guess what? How many times in all of these games this year that the referees have not been right with the Fever? And the Fever had to still go out there and perform. You cannot put yourself in position to allow the referees to dictate the game. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, not. And I'm gonna say this. When you see Paige Beckers get these calls and whine to the ref and Caitlin Clark cannot get the same calls, it's hard for me to like Paige Beckers. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I don't like, I do not like plays like that. I don't like how players beg for call, beg for call, beg for call, and then when they play, they get all the calls, and the number one superstar can't get any calls. I cannot root for a play like that. That makes me turn against that player, not liking a player like that. We've seen that in the NBA this year with Shea Gildress, constantly doing it, constantly doing it. I don't like that. My thing is, if you as good as you are, you don't have to bait a person into foul you. Just play the game. Now, Stephanie White took to the podium after the game and talked about how Kelsey AB doesn't get the same calls. Um, it's a double standard with the calls. But I'm gonna once I let you listen to what she had to say, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give my assessment of the whole game and the assessment of Stephanie White, because there's a lot of things that I need to say, and I'm kind of like, I'm over it.
I didn't think our attention to detail on defense was very good. They got loose for some easy ones. We started fouling, getting to the free throw line, and turning the ball over. I mean, there were moments where, there's no transition defense for turnovers for scores. And, we had multiple in a row. I mean, 27 points off of turnovers. And, I felt like our group did some uncharacteristic things. Well, all of our point guards are injured. I think that's the first thing. And again, it's one of those things. Dallas turned up the pressure. I mean, defensively, they made it a little bit more difficult for us to bring down the ball and initiate offense, and became a little bit more disruptive. And we're working Odyssey into what we do, but still, it's tough because point guards are the ones who get you organized. And there were times where we weren't organized. There were times where we were over dribbling, got away from our off-ball actions and went straight to trying to go one-on-one. It was a physical game. I think there's a double standard in how people get their calls. I think Kelsey Mitchell, number one, is held or chucked on every freaking possession and never gets a call off the ball. I think Aaliyah Boston is the worst officiated post player in the league. She never gets a call. There's a double standard there, certainly. But again, if it's going to be physical and you're gonna allow us to be physical, then allow both teams to be physical. If you're going to call the holds and you're going to call the chucks, and you're going to then call it both ways. So I mean, I think that we've been pretty consistent in what we're asking for, and I didn't feel like it was consistent, especially for those two. I think you could call a foul every time down the floor for those two.
So, anyway, let me ask you a question. Have it dawned on you that you had two days off? You gave the team a day off on Sunday. You brought Odyssey Sims on Monday. You had a game on Tuesday. Did you think to have your team a little bit more prepared coming into this game last night? Did you ever think that what you cannot make excuses because you don't have a point guard? Because guess what? You didn't have a point guard against the Chicago Sky, and you won the game. Kelsey Mitchell's had 20 something points and 8 assists in that game. The same formula that you beat them, you could have used it against them, but no. And then you said the double standard about Kelsey and AB not getting the calls. Okay, granted, they didn't get calls, but guess what? They could have called a bunch of fouls on Aaliyah Boston too. Aaliyah Boston does her share of fouling a lot, and then complain to the referees. See, what I see from this team is undisciplined team. You know why this team is undisciplined? Because there is no structure with this team. This team goes out and think they could play that's the same unhinged style of basketball and get these wins. Granted, I give them kudos for winning games without Caitlin Clark or players being injured. But guess what? Stephanie White does not have a defensive strategy. She doesn't have an offensive strategy. Because when you don't know how to get your 3-point players open to score, it's a problem. All your sets, your actions, your two-man game, you don't even run. Then you play one of the weakest defense, a 1-2-2, a standard 1-2-2 defense. Then you know that Lexi Hall is prone to getting foul trouble because players go after her. You don't decide to trap that person to get the ball out their hand, make that person work, or go after the person Paige is guarding or Kelsey Plum or whoever team you playing. You don't do none of that. I'm so tired of the excuses or using the referees. We already know at this point the referees are shit. We already know that. But at the end of the day, you as a coach have to put your team in better position. Granted, you don't have a point guard. Odyssey Sims came in. I can't fault her. She didn't play well. She only had one time on the floor. She played what, 13 minutes? She seems she could read the offense a little bit better. This team doesn't know the offense. They just out there. Sophie Cunningham gets the hot hand all the time. Chloe Bibby came in and got the hot hand. You don't utilize them to where you could find a way. You down 17 points. You battled back twice. You came back in the second quarter. I think the score was tied at halftime. Then you get blown out in the third quarter. Then you battle back. You should not even had to. You had Lee LaRue had 20 points off the bench by herself. You didn't think to find a way to neutralize her? Playing Bree Turner or on KK a little bit more? No, you didn't. Then you had Maddie Segrist, who scored 20 points too. No Enrique Umawale in the game. All I'm hearing is excuses from this point. Well, the referees this, the referees that, the league this, the league that. We don't have a point guard. We playing one-on-one. We doing this. I line up this. I line up that. I feel like Daryl Hall and John Oates. Say it is and so. At the end of the day, it's always the same thing with Stephanie White. We already have the season almost over, and this team continue to look disjointed. Continue to look disjointed. The Indiana Fever had 15 from 19 from the free throw line. Heck, the Dallas Wings were 13 for 15. So you did get some fouls. You did get some fouls, but guess what? Y'all missed half of them. If you made them free throws, guess what? You win the game. You win the game. You out rebounded them 39-30. You lost the assist battle by 10, 25-15. You had 4 more turnovers, 18-14. Points off of turnovers, another key component, 27 points. So you contribute 27 points to there and lost and had the chance to win at the line, and you didn't. You missed a bunch. Points in the paint, you lost that by 4. So again, Stephanie White, people want us to give her grace. We want to say, oh well, yeah, she coaching Caitlin Clark hard and all of this, and Caitlin Clark acknowledge her, but that doesn't mean Caitlin Clark and her gets along. We seen that last year with her and Chrissy Sides. This team doesn't have an offensive identity. This team don't even have a defensive identity. It's like they go out there every game and wing it. And wing it. Yeah, they win some games. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. This team is 18-15 on the season. They only 2 games or so back from being out of the playoffs. And everybody's sitting here running around wondering when Caitlin Clark come back. Guess what? Caitlin Clark might not come back, guys. Caitlin Clark might not come back. There's no way in the world that Stephanie White could sit on that podium all season. She has not taken no accountability. She has not said, hey, it's my fault. I got to get this team better prepared. I got to find a way to put these players in a better position. When the players get hot, she take them out. She don't call timeout properly. You had 11.7 seconds. Natasha Howard gets the rebound. She's dribbling up the court. Sophie Cunningham is telling her to pass it to Kelsey Mitchell so Kelsey Mitchell could get there. All you had to do soon as Tasha Howard get the ball across half court, call a reset timeout. You would have had more seconds on the clock to maneuver a play, set better screens. They just run around, set half-hearted screens. They don't play with no enthusiasm. They don't play with no passion. They play so lackluster. And people already saying that, hey, you already um playing fixing games, throwing games when you're not supposed to. And you already look at a game before where you had Kelsey Mitchell running the point, her and Sophie running the point. There's no reason Natasha Howard should touch the ball and bring it up the court. No reason at all. If it ain't Kelsey or Sophie or doggone Aaliyah Boston touching that ball, there should be nobody else touching the ball. And then when Odyssey Sims come in, she should be the only point guard directing traffic on that court. That's why I'm telling you, this team does not have no identity at all. This team doesn't have an identity. We could say what we want to say. We could go with all kind of different narratives, but people are seeing what's going on with this team. We could sit here and say, well, they don't have no point guard. But guess what? That's when you go to your front office and say, hey, look, I need a true point guard to run this team. You can't just sit here and sit on your hands and twiddle your thumbs and think that, oh, well, a good player going to come fall out the sky. You don't utilize the players that you have already, so why get another good player where you could just sit them on the bench? Because you want to play this stagnant offense that doesn't produce a lot of points unless one of the 3 people get off. If Kelsey, Lord have mercy, if Kelsey Mitchell has a bad game, it's done. You got the Washington Mystics and the Connecticut Sun coming up in 2 days. Then you got a back-to-back with the Minnesota Lynx. Well, good damn luck with that. Because at the end of the day, what you should have did is you should have either suspended Ari McDonald or Sid Colston's contract and brought somebody in that could contribute with more scoring and defense. There's players out there. You look at the New York Liberty, the Minnesota Lynx, even the Golden State Valkyries. They've been making moves all year, bringing in people. Shoot, they brought 2 or 3 people in at one time for their team. And you can tell me that the Indiana Fever cannot bring in some people that want to play and want to play. But guess what? We should not criticize Stephanie White. We should sit back and just allow her to keep this team in a flux. This team is nowhere near a championship team, this team is nowhere near a playoff team. Because guess what? No matter if Caitlin comes back or she doesn't come back, this team ain't going nowhere. This team ain't going nowhere. Because guess what? When you have a coach that doesn't have no kind of strategy for this team, offensively and defensively. Heck, I could use a football analogy on this. When you have a cornerback that plays defense and he gets torched on a one-on-one game, guess what the defense does? The defensive coordinator does. He changes up the scheme. Stephanie White doesn't have a scheme for none of the players. No scheme whatsoever. She talks a good game. Hey, she could be a car salesman if she wanted to, and make you believe anything. But nowhere, form or fashion, she has a scheme for this team. She don't have a scheme for players. Know how to utilize them. Who makes up the game plan? Who puts the game plan in place? We don't ever hear Stephanie White talk about the game plan. Well, the game plan was to do this, but all she do is call them out. All we stopped playing one-on-one. How many times we not seen them play one-on-one every game? That's not the issue. When you don't have a defensive strategy for your team, guess what happens? Your team looks lost. Players on the team looks lost. And guess what? Then we have everybody out here say, well, this person's not a good defensive person. This person not good. Why this person on the floor? Why is she playing this person? It don't matter who's on the team. The team is disjointed. Period. If the team is disjointed, the scheme is bad. They switch too much. Every time you look, you get Lexi on Page. Then all of a sudden you get switch up. They switch. You get Kelsey on Page, or you get somebody. It don't matter. It don't matter. This team doesn't have an identity. Period. Point blank. Period. And I'm just calling for what it is. Stephanie White can sit there and be mad all she wants, but guess what? All of this falls on you because you had 2 days to get this team better prepared. You could have brought 2 players in on Sunday instead of waiting till Monday to bring a player in. You should have been, after that Chicago game, I don't care about giving this players a rest. Go back out there and practice on Sunday and Monday. Be more prepared. You don't have that much time. They don't play again until Friday right now. Yesterday was Tuesday. They don't play again until Friday. They should be looking at bringing another person in, bringing this team better. Go find somebody. But they're not going to do that. They're going to will it all the way down to Friday and most likely probably lose to the Mystics and be looking crazy. These stretch of games, it's going to get rough for this team. Don't be surprised as this team fall out of the playoffs race. Don't be surprised. Like, comment, subscribe. Until the next time, I'm out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.